Everybody, welcome back to the Pack of Mics and Fire. I'm Brian. I'm joined, as always, by Ryan. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. No complaints.
So this is our first non-specific episode. I hope to do a lot of them. Just kind of talk about random stuff in the Song of Ice and Fire wider universe. That's exactly what this episode is going to be. We're going to be talking about the potential shows in production. Who knows if they'll actually get there? But we'll see. There's already been some cancellations. We've lost some spin-offs on the way. Jon Snow, he's not coming back. He came back once from the dead, not coming back from the dead again. That's been out. I believe Kit Harington's on Industry. I don't know if you've ever watched that, Ryan, but
Yeah,
I think it's on there.
I definitely saw the preview. It didn't really catch my interest.
Yeah, I'm more just happy that Kit's out there getting.
Yeah, it's cool. He's in something. He was in that. He was in that short. What's it like? A short, maybe like either like a one-shot series, something like that. It was about his ancestor.
Oh yeah. About
that was
yeah. So HBO clearly liked him. We wanted to make a Jon Snow show, but it just didn't work out. There,
I was into it. I would have been curious.
I also know that Flea Bottom was potentially a show focused on the small folk. Didn't happen.
That's just like, I just don't know where, like, what do you pull from, really? I'd have to really deep dive back into the books to see if there's any, like, lore about Flea Bottom. I can't think of right now. There might be, like, some small stuff, but, yeah, you'd really have to have an imagination there.
Yeah. And, I think I felt more positive about to those about to die than the most people did. Especially the Rotten Tomato ratings are pretty bad on that. But there was some, like stuff going on with characters who weren't like part of nobility on that. That was interesting. So maybe it could have been like that.
Yeah, no, it's not to say. I mean, you can definitely do right. It's just this world in particular. It's not something. There is fantasy. I do have a hard. There is fantasy that has like the perspective of peasants, right? And I mean, there are characters in Game of Thrones to a degree that I mean, mostly it's people, bro. Yeah, or they have some sort of.
There's really like Braun who like social climb.
Yeah, there's Braun. Yeah, that is true. Well, actually, that kind of brings us to eventually.
Perfect segue.
Yeah,
to a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Well, that's what's like, right? It's like a lot of these guys. I mean, we'll get into it later, but like Braun's as good of a fighter as anyone, right? Tyrion says he thinks he's very close to Jaime, who at one point is definitely probably the best fighter in the world.
Right.
Maybe he could, potentially beat him. So it's like, how many other peasants that are there out there of like high talent?
He has that great line in the main series. I think Sir Maren Trant's like, how did like Cutthroat like you become a knight? And he's like, killed the right people. It's like, killed the right people.
Yeah, I mean he knew.
And very fun. He was a great character for most of the run. Got a little,
I mean, Mance Raider's common born.
Right, that's true. He became a king.
Kind of. Yeah, kind
of. But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about, and brief spoilers. We'll just A Knight of the Seven Kingdom. This is based on the Tales of Duncan Egg, Hedge Knight novellas. There's 3 out right now. Ryan, I know you're big fans of these. I believe you're the person who told me about them. So how do you feel about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
Depending how they do it, are they doing like one novella per season? That's pretty.
I believe that's the idea right now. And there's 6 episode seasons, so shorter.
Okay, I could kind of see working perfectly for that. To be honest, I would see it more being like episodes, like hour and a half. You could stretch it for sure. And it is, going back to House of Dragon is pulled from a segment of Fire and Blood, right? Which is Is that the name of the book?
Yes.
Yeah. So great. So right, there's a lot of great segments. Some of the most interesting Targaryen lore takes place during the time of which Dunk and Egg are going, right?
The real like full generation after A Dance of the Dragons. There's been another civil war since then.
Yep.
In the fallout of this world. No more, no dragons at this point, and we're bumping up against the original show. So we'll have some characters that, I don't know how many, but some characters might show up in this that you will know from the original show.
Yeah, we got Blackwoods and Brackens in the Targaryens in the Targaryen house themselves. You'll have to see. It's really interesting. I mean, so the main character Dunk is basically the Hound's build, Brienne's early Brienne. Before she kind of finds herself becomes like a bad bitch, I guess you'd say. Her that kind of aloof demeanor and. Maybe the fighting skill of Podrick Payne.
He's definitely like a very classic, like brutish fighter.
He's a clumsy. He's
bigger than everyone, so he's gonna have the advantage in a lot of fights just because.
So he's a clumsy squire, but he's in a giant's body, right? And he's got strength he's not completely aware of. But at that time, as being a clumsy squire, maybe that's why I went to Podrick Payne is like. Right, Podrick does, as like goofy as Podrick is, he does have some fighting skills for sure. And a lot of that is from watching. What?
Survived the long night.
Yep. So a lot of that is just watching others, right? So he's a hedge knight, which is basically like, what is the best? I'm trying to
freelancer.
He's a contractor, yeah.
Contractor.
He drives on the back of a truck, tells you this, he's like, oh, I've done this. I own my own business. They make their own coat of arms. So they're pretty looked down. They are able to participate in tournaments, but they're pretty looked down upon for the most part.
I feel like the ideal is like, if you're a knight, you're trying to get in good enough with a lord of some renown and be a household knight. Someone who's there all the time.
Yeah.
Where these guys are, like you said, looked down upon. They're swords for hire. They're just traveling the country and seeing where they can get work and get.
The difference is they're not quite like a Braun type, but people suspect them of being that. And like, honestly, if they were better at what they did, they probably would be doing something more like what Braun's doing, right? And Braun probably would scoff at what they're doing. But yeah, the goal is basically, usually they have some sort of ridiculous story or they go off of accolades. I used to fight at this random guy's house. And they're just trying to they're trying to become a household knight. Or they're trying to just basically like travel and, have bread, food, and maybe get in a couple tournaments. So I think it begins with Dunk's hedge knight dying and Dunk's just like, basically described as a big old dumb orphan kid who's a squire and he's not really sure what he's going to do. And this kid Egg basically ends up running into him and he's weirdly impressed with Dunk. I think just with how, obviously the size, but I think more than anything how honest Dunk is. And we don't want to ruin any spoilers, but just like Dunk doesn't know who Egg is. He doesn't treat him any differently than he would anyone else. He treats him very much how his squire would have treated a kid. And this is a time in Targaryen history. If you think it was bad in House of Dragon, it's even more morally corrupted. Right? There's just a lot going on with the Targaryens. So I think, and there's a lot more heirs. So I think,
they built their family back up, but like they're still in a precarious spot in terms of the power they yield or wield.
There's some pretty. There's some shady characters in the Targaryen family at this time for sure. Some of the worst Targaryen characters, some of the most interesting as well. Way too many heirs. Not a whole lot of good options.
Yeah, right.
And of course, the ones that are good options, they die.
Right. I think what I love most about the Hedge Knight novellas is like Dunk is the ideals of what a knight is. You know, he like very much internalizes like I need to stand up for the helpless. I need to be a good person. I need to, be what a knight is in like the songs that people sing. And
Well, when I say Brienne, he very much has like a lot of times Brienne almost seems like a blank slate where it's like there's not a lot of personality necessarily at first, especially in the books. But there's like this just, I don't know, it's like broad shouldered, like earnestness to her almost. Do you know what I mean? Like just she's willing to help the next person. She wants to do the right thing. That very much reminds me of Brienne. But Dunk is just kind of not simple isn't the right word, but yeah, he's a one-dimensional knight. There's not much more to him than he wants to fight for justice.
yeah, so I'm excited for the series. I think the novellas are great. I'm 100% sure the show will be great.
Yeah, let me see. I want to see if I have something. It'll take me 1 second.
Yeah, and
I just saw it on my bookshelf.
Right. Well, Ryan does that. I'll say that I do think the casting for this show is great. I was very interested to see who they would find to play Dunk, and I do think the actor whose name is right here. Peter Claffey. He's a former rugby player, so he has the size. And I just think he'll be, a good choice to play Dunk here. Are you able to find the book?
No, I swore I had it. I swear I saw it recently, but I had actually it's a graphic novel version. I've only skimmed through it. I did, I bought it. I had read the novellas, but there's also, for people who don't like novellas, there are graphic novels out that are really well done.
Mm-hmm. If novellas are too much reading for you, it's a graphic novel. Not that I love graphic novels. I want to write graphic novels. I'm not hating on them, but it's just funny to be like, if you don't like novellas.
Yeah, short novels. I didn't even think. Yeah. Well, hey, some people really don't like reading. I guess why would you? Well, you could just be a fan of the TV shows.
Yeah. All right. So on from the Night of the Seven Kingdoms to Aegon's Conquest. Ryan, you said before we started recording you're very excited for this. Tell me your thoughts on Aegon's Conquest.
Well, out of the entire list, it jumps out the most. I mean, I guess if I think about if we're not going to film during the time of the books, the most interesting timeline to me to film is obviously Robert's Rebellion. Whether it's
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
That would be the most. Well, I'm just saying that would be the most interesting. But the second most, I guess, that would come to mind for me. The Dunk and Egg time could be for sure, but I would say it's probably Aegon's Conquest could be potentially interesting. It's going to be a more straightforward story. Obviously, I think anyone who'd be listening to this knows who Aegon the Conqueror is. He is the first Targaryen king of the Seven Kingdoms, right? He is the Lord, Prince, whatever of Dragonstone, and he decides, hey, this is a pretty nice little
continent.
Yeah, chunk of land. I'm just gonna take it, and because there were 7 kings, and what's really interesting is some of the names are going to be very familiar to us. The Starks are the kings of the North. I have to look back on the Greyjoys, to be honest. We're going to see the Lannisters, I believe.
Yeah.
But there are some ones you've not heard of House Gardner.
Right.
I don't want to spoil too much. I'm trying to say these as delicately as possible. House Gardner is a big one. What is the? Well, you'll find out about the origins of the Baratheons and why Robert had the best claim to the throne over. I'm very excited to see that. See Orlys Baratheon, who's actually supposedly Aegon Targaryen's bastard brother, who basically is described as looking kind of like Robert, from what I remember. And,
Right.
he is the reason Robert has a claim to the throne, right? Is because the original Baratheon is seen to be
An offshoot house of the Targaryens. Yeah.
basically just their bastard brother.
Yeah.
And Aegon's best friend. Yeah. And the original house, because I was thinking it was Baratheon and he just took their name, but it wasn't. Who was the original Stormlord?
Well, it is. I believe it is Baratheon, and he marries and becomes like the main Baratheon out there.
I think he is already Baratheon.
Let's see, Storm Lord or
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think.
let's see. Okay, so during Aegon's conquest, Lord Buckler, House Errol, and Fel fought against House Targaryen's house at the Wendwater, then retreated into their forests. Rhaenys Targaryen burned the woods and Meraxes. However, King Arlic Durandon in the storm confronted Orlys Baratheon, the half-brother of Aegon I. They beat them. He married one of King Durandon's daughters and took the lands, titles, sigil, and words and turned that into the Baratheon house. So the Ours is the Fury actually came from Durandon, House Durandon.
Durandon, so, yeah, I knew it was. Yeah, that's why I mixed it up, or I knew that, but I knew the name was.
Yeah, I was like, they took something. They took the sigil and the word and all that.
So it'll just be interesting because you'll see these these seven kingdoms, and the kings of these seven kingdoms are not all matching perfectly to the seven lords of Westeros. And you'll see the long and interesting relationship with Dorne, with the rest of Westeros, and kind of Dorne's uncanny ability to kind of just annoy the shit out of the Targaryens and anyone else who wants to rule Westeros. And that will come into play, I believe, just a little bit with A Tale of Dunk and Egg, where there's a part where he is in Dorne.
Yeah. And you know what? Gonna be a huge redemption arc for Vhagar. Everyone hates Vhagar right now. You know that gif of the deep would turn around smiling? That's gonna be Vhagar as everyone celebrates Vhagar.
Vhagar's written by Visenya, right? Who's like probably the way they write it, I don't think it's meant intentionally.
He's gonna be a girl boss. 100%.
Yeah, but it's pretty clear she's the least liked.
Yeah.
And just in general. And it kind of like implies, like, right, I think her son, like, it's like, this is the OG kind of evil Targaryen that does witchcraft and shit.
Yeah, which we'll see. It'll be interesting in like 30 years when we'll be able to watch from Aegon's conquest to Bran becoming king, all in television shows.
Yeah, that's kind of true to do this, and then House of Dragon. Yeah, I think Aegon's conquest could potentially be pretty interesting. They're going to have to fill in a lot of blanks. I mean, it's pretty descriptive about the battles and stuff. My thought is a lot of it, I would think if they want to stick to based on what they did, they're not going to stick to the book and they're just going to fill in a lot of shit. But if they decide to kind of go with the book, it's going to be a lot of battle scenes and like dragons, and that's really expensive. I can't see this being more than a season. That's the thing. I think should I do it? A solid 8-episode season, maybe you could do that. But like, is this really going to be a whole entire show? Like, and if that's the case, are we then going to go beyond just the initial conquest and like the constant fight with Dorne? Because I guess that could be part of it too, but then it gets pretty far removed from the original arc. So I do think it is exciting. I don't know. We've never seen like something. Think about any huge series like Star Wars, Harry Potter. Like there are some series that are successful on their own, but you never see like just like a canon of like all these shows that are awesome. And like there is great content in the books George R. R. Martin has read within this world, but has written within this world. But I'm not like super hopeful that like any of these are gonna. Other than I do think the Hedge Knight has a shot of being like a pretty entertaining little like 3 or 4 season run for sure. The other ones I'm not so sure of. Aegon's Conquest, I believe they might put some money into, and yeah, maybe it is good, but
yeah,
we'll just.
I'm excited. I want to see Balerion the Black Dread flying, and burning down Harrenhal. I want to see Harrenhal before it was burned down.
They got to nail Aegon though. I feel like because
that's
we kind of talked about like because these guys are described as like look at like Oris Baratheon. Like, this dude's a fucking unit. That's like
right. Yeah.
Like you got to get like it's different, but I said you can't just go ahead and get like. I don't want to throw any actors under the bus, but just like a 30-year-old, 35-year-old actor who's kind of known with like a dad bod, like you need to like have him looking like pretty epic. I feel like
yeah, and I know like the constant fan cast is Henry Cavill as Aegon.
I mean, that is, I will say, I think it would be kind of like too played out, but it is like when I was thinking about like someone, you think about like Henry Cavill in the role of Geralt, and like Aegon's not going to be a hard role, and he'd be good for Rhaegar. Rhaegar and Aegon you can kind of think of as very similar. Is Aegon supposed to be very tall? Not that this like matters a ton, but like I know like Rhaegar is surprisingly like not that like probably Jon type, like tall but not like otherworldly. But I think Aegon himself is supposed to be like pretty physically imposing. I think that might be the
yeah. I mean, and you want. I mean, I'd be down for Henry Cavill. He's like 40 years old now. That's a little like that's like I feel like the ship was a bit sailed on him.
Aegon's in his 30s when he does this, I believe, right?
Is he? Okay, all right. So
I could be wrong, but I think he might be. I'd have to go back.
And you can definitely like you look at Henry Cavill. He's like ambiguously 30. You know what I mean? Like he's not someone who looks like super old.
He looks much. I mean.
And if it's just like a season or two.
Sean Bean was playing Ned Stark. I think they portrayed Ned as much older, but like they kind of overlook the fact that like
Ned is like
they make it like Ned's this like old man, but in the books, I think Ned's like probably our age now. I think
right.
Which is kind of saying, he has all God, I don't know why I mentioned that, but he's a fictional character. He's not realistic expectations to do
like 6 kids. What a nightmare. He's got like 6 kids by that age. Yeah. What a nightmare.
Yeah, he really, I mean, he doesn't have like a very envious life, honestly. Had to like basically had to kill all these cool dudes that he liked, like in really shitty way with this, had his weird swamp friend poison them, and he can't hang out with him anymore because it got too fucked up and weird, and he feels weird about it.
Yeah.
Then his other boy, like, no, then actually, if you think about it, does that, then he finds out his sister's like, hey, I'm actually in love with this dude that you've been trying to kill. Can you please raise my son as yours? And your best friend is going to want to slit his fucking throat.
Yeah.
And then, and then the guy he's in love with runs off and his best friend kills him. So that's the cause of his sister's misery. And his sister dies in childbirth while this is all going on. And then,
by the way, your new wife is gonna fucking resent the shit out of you.
Like, well, hopefully your new wife kind of a bitch about this type of thing.
Yeah. Off rip, bad vibes in this relationship.
She's really gonna take it out on the kid too. Like it's not gonna be a you thing. She's gonna place all the mistrust and hatred onto this baby. Like,
yeah. Oh man.
And so yeah, and then he's just got to raise then he's got to raise 6 kids.
And you know what? Once he has life going well, his fucking old friends like, hey, you want to run this kingdom for me?
Yeah, life's got exactly. And then he hates the fucking South, and his daughter is like basically just a Southern lady and wants to marry a guy that he discovers is born of incest, and then he tries to do the right thing and he gets killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but he's like, so Ned is like 30, right? And Sean Bean is like got to be in his 50s when he's playing that character.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So, I mean, it's not, Henry Cavill, a 40-year-old can play a 28-year-old in this kind of a thing.
Sure. Yeah.
No, and I'm thinking, from what I remember, I could be wrong, but I don't think Aegon, I'd be shocked if he was as young as like 26. He might be. Because I think at this point he's done some stuff and he's like weighed it out. Like, I don't think it's as impulsive. I could be wrong. Actually, we can look it up. But yeah, that would be a cool cat. I don't really know that you'd want someone, but it should be someone with that kind of a vibe, like it would be I just mean, not that I know he was older, but it would be kind of weird if they had someone like who played Viserys, like that kind of a character to play Aegon.
Yeah. Right.
Not that I think they would. I mean, they did a good job with King Robert, but like it did. I guess. Well, how else can you do it? They kind of overlook the fact that, like, yeah, this guy's basically. I mean, the dude was like basically like a retired NFL tight end.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, they needed to cast somebody like a tight end, an offensive lineman, someone who like
who's let him
actually huge.
A lot of those guys are in like think about like Greg Olsen. Like, I think he's still in great shape, right? Like
I'd like Joe Thomas got into better shape when he retired.
That's what a lot of those guys do. That's the thing. So I'm trying to just someone who just let themselves go, just like a bit like. But I mean I forget that actor's name, but he did an amazing job at playing.
Oh yeah, he's so fucking good as Robert. Like you push it to the side because you're like, oh, this guy's so good.
It doesn't really matter, and just because of like, you can believe like, yeah, sure, this guy's a great warrior. Like, why not?
Yeah, we don't know what he looked like when he was younger. Could have been fucking yoked. Yeah, we do know what he looks like when he was younger because he's an actor. We saw him when he was younger, but in your mind. All right, let's talk about one more for this episode. We'll do a second part for the rest of them. I think this one's very interesting. The Sea Snake / 9 Voyages. So this is our first animated show that's going to be here. So it's going to be. I know.
No, I can kind of fuck with it. I'm saying like it would make.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh no, I was saying like if they were going to make the Sea Snake and 9 Voyages, like, all right, the Sea Snake that actor is great. It was like a really cool arc, but
yeah,
that's really deep diving to me. Like,
now if it's animated, you can just have him. Voice him.
I'm just saying, but animated, you just have this guy doing all sorts of cool, whimsical. It's more like fun and like visually, like if they do like a really cool in-depth animation, I could see that being. I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only reason that I'm like, because I do prefer live action, but the one reason that I'd be more excited is you can do way more with animation than live action.
And that's the kind of thing, right? If you're going 9 Voyages, he's going to parts where other people haven't been at all. Some pretty like
and have it be like
stuff. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Have it be like the premise could be like him telling his stories, so they are more whimsical because he's telling the stories of his 9 voyages, right?
Yeah, or it can. I mean, right? The sea snake's a larger than life character. I get right
Yeah.
going through these crazy things. I mean, look at like a show like you look at like One Piece, which is like a pirate show. Them going in all of these places because there is just so much more you can do with animation.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll say,
I know One Piece does have a Netflix show, but I feel like
they did do a live action, and it was actually like crazy.
It's actually good.
Surprisingly, like really good. Probably the best to animated adaptation I've ever seen, and that I would have thought that would have been by far I mean, that was when I was like, that's gonna be awful. Like,
yeah, right.
Have Tom Cruise as like, like. I kind of wish they did just do that, just like him, like with his like hands on his hips, gum pistol whip, like
fucking like 70-year-old Tom Cruise. Hilarious. No, I think like you said, that was good, but I think animation opens up a lot more for you, and I do think it would be very cool to have this. The sea snake has been such a standout character,
and there's not much
the dragon.
Right, yeah, it's a standout character. They touch upon it a little more, but there's not a ton of there's not as much stakes in animation because it's a separate kind of a thing. Just like I know The Witcher has done some of that animation stuff. Like I watch like one of them. Like it could be something to watch for sure.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be like huge or anything, but I think
probably not going to be as big as one of these live action.
No, but I think it's a good. I think that's the best course of action if they're going to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this will be fun. I am looking forward to it, and I'm interested to see how they do it. Like I said, will Stephen Toussaint voice his character because it is his character?
I kind of feel like maybe not, but well, that's the thing. Are they going to go? Are they going to do? I think they should stick to that sea snake. I think there's no other way to go at this point, but are they going to go by the books and make him, a typical Valyrian as in the books? Like, are they gonna, like a white guy?
Oh no shot.
That'd
be like offensive if they were like
a good move. Yeah, people would not be
horrible.
Like, he's made that character. There's no reason, but people do stupid stuff. I don't know.
That's fair. That is fair, but no, I think they're just gonna make it look like a younger version of him.
Yeah, I would think that would be the best course of action. Yeah.
Oh,
that's the only way I could imagine it. To be honest, like the blonde braids and like.
Yeah. No, he looks awesome on the Entertainment Weekly article that I'm following along, and has that photo of him in his armor from season 1 with his axe. Fucking looks sick. Shit, But,
he was. I mean, we talked about it. I thought he was one of the best actors on the show.
Oh, and this season too, especially. Although this season, all they let him do is stand in that fucking port every episode,
getting his heart broken and breaking hands.
Yeah, right.
Just basically everyone just telling him what a shitty person he is, which is fair. I mean,
yeah. Oh man. But yeah, looking forward to that. So those are the shows that we're going to talk about in this episode. We have a long way till season 3 of House of the Dragon. We haven't even started filming it yet, so we will be stretching stuff out as much as possible.
Well, we're going beyond. We're going into, if you're a fan, just a huge nerd like us and just love like A Song of Fire and Ice, we're just going to be deep diving into all sorts of just random topics. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. You want us to do like lists, conspiracy theories. We'd love. We'll
definitely be doing a conspiracy theory sub show within this show.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not nearly as creative as we'd like to pretend we are. So ideas would be most welcome.
Yeah. And, hopefully we'll grow to a point to where we can get some other Song of Ice and Fire creators to come on as guests. So if there are any, especially right now, if there are any small Song of Ice and Fire creators that that you love, leave them in the comments. We'll, try to make a connection and just have people on, So right. Anything you want to plug before we get on out of here?
No, I don't think so. Just I'll just say stay buckled in. It's gonna be a bumpy ride for a little bit, but really want both of us to love A Song of Fire and Ice. Would love to continue to talk about this stuff more. So just keep watching, hit subscribe, and if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. We'd love to tackle as many fun topics as possible.
Absolutely. And for me, somehow you haven't grown tired of hearing my voice at this point. We have a whole podcasting channel, Better Radio, where I'm the co-host of, I think, every show on there right now. We cover a lot of different television shows there. We have the main channel where you get everything. We have a new spin-off channel called Those Fake Nerds, which is a spin-off of the main channel because that was a show that we used to do there where I talk about video game and movie topics. We're on TikTok and also YouTube where you get sports. Ryan, we're going to be getting back into talking about the NBA. We might actually launch a new podcast just about the NBA. So if you, especially like Ryan and I together, and you also like ball,
and you have like A Song of Fire and Ice and basketball.
We'll do an episode building the best.
We're the guys for you, I guess.
Yeah, Ryan, we'll do an episode building the best starting five of characters of Game of Thrones.
Actually, that's a pretty good one, and put them against.
That'd be so funny. That'd be so funny.
You want to do it?
Yeah. We'll use it to promote our basketball.
I'll legit after we get off this, I'm gonna make a lineup.
Hell yes, make two. So we'll have like two teams. Yeah. Then maybe one day we'll make them in 2K and have them play.
Is pre-Reek Theon Greyjoy? Is he shooting guard for the his bow and arrow for his?
Yeah, he was a sharpshooter. Yeah,
he's like 6.
Brad Stevens would have snatched that up immediately.
Like 16, sure. maybe off
the bench. Yeah, no, off the bench to hit a 3. Brad Stevens would have been all over that.
I was gonna say actually, I've been doing some NBA. Not to play, but I have been doing NBA power ranking. So I've just been looking at the teams. Something me and my friend were doing for fun. So I've just been pulling the teams like based on just pure like their players and ranking them that way, and doing raw power rating. And then from there, if I have the time, I might try to do like predicted standings.
Nice. Do that for the blog. Over on
I could definitely post it on the blog. Yeah, we could also talk about
and in the podcast. So
yeah.
We got so much happening. Please subscribe if you're interested in any of those, or if you're just interested in Song of Ice and Fire. Stay right here on our new channel, Pact of Mics and Fire, and on Better Radio as well. Other than that, Ryan, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure as always.
We'll see you all in the next one.